one of the ways that I have this set up is in my demo account here, this location, Seagull Stacks. What I've got is I've got a specific rule called full house buyout. Now I'll show you and kind of walk you through how I created this. Under the job codes area, you'll see kind of the list of job codes, and most of these are created in the point of sale, but you'll see this little custom tag here called full house buyout. And what this does is this kind of highlights, hey, this custom job code was created inside of TipHaus and was not created in the point of sale. The way you go about this is you click actions and then create a custom job code, and you can call it whatever you want, and then click submit, and then that creates it here. Now, these job codes, employees are not necessarily going to be clocking into because they're just in the TipHaus side of it. They don't push back into the point of sale or anything like that. But now you can use this job code in specific rules. So what I did was I created this rule called full house buyout. Now you'll see the rest of the rules that are here. We've got a server to bar tip out based on alcohol sales. We've got a bar to expo tip out based on food sales, this sort of thing. So kind of standard tip sharing rules. But the way we've got this kind of set up is, hey, when there is a full house buyout, I don't want to do our standard tip sharing rules. What I want to do is say, hey, we're going to have an even house pool across the job codes where everyone's even. So I'll show you what I did. Under here, we've got this full house buyout rule where I've got 100% of tips essentially going into a pool, where I've got my custom job code here called full house buyout. And then I've got all my job codes sitting in here. And because I'm tip sharing 100% of my tips, this is essentially a pool. And what I can do here is only apply this rule. It can sit here all year round, really, but I can only apply it when I want to. And so it gives me a lot of flexibility. I can come in here and just kind of give you an idea. I went yesterday, and just ahead of time here, what I did was I did what's called a batch job code assignment. This is one of the specific actions that you can do inside of TipHaus. So I click this actions and then batch job code assignment. And then I click full house buyout. And then I click select sales. So what I'm doing is saying, hey, ahead of time, I know that I'm going to create this rule. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to select all the sales. And I'm going to assign that to all of the sales here on the day. And then you'll see here this sale assignment. That's what happens when you do that batch job code assignment, is I applied this to all of the sales on that day. When that happens, I go here to my breakdown, and you'll see that basically all of the tips on that day got assigned this full house buyout job code. The hours don't get adjusted. The hours are still the 8 hours for the bartender here for Sister and D'Angelo. Their hours are staying the same as to what they clocked into, but the sales were applying that specific full house buyout job code. And what you'll notice is because I had this daily rule that's based on the hours worked per day, the take home per hour for everyone that day was $7.56. That's just taking the total tips for the day and distributing it out. And that's evenly applying that take home based on their hours worked for the day. Now, this isn't something that I want to apply every day because my standard rules are going to be server to bar tip out, this and that sort of thing. But maybe on the full house buyout, I'm going to have a very specific set of rules. In my case, it was an even pool to everybody that worked on that day based on the hours worked. And so this kind of gives me that flexibility. Now you can kind of have a similar concept to what I did here for my Bogies Bonanza location. I've still got my server to bar tip out, my bar to expo, but you'll see my standard tip out is 3% from server to bar. But what I did was I made a different custom job code called New Year's Eve event. And that one, I'm increasing my server to bar tip out to 5%. On this day, I want to increase that amount. New Year's Eve is going to be a lot of drinks flowing, right? So we're going to do an increased tip out. And the way I did that was that same logic. I went in here and I created this New Year's Eve event job code. I created that specific rule with this New Year's Eve event job code. I went in here and I assigned it only to the servers, right? So the way I did that was I basically just filtered to the server job code from within here and submitted that. And that basically made it so that I could apply this only to the server sales. The bartender sales I didn't adjust. And so going back here, we can see that for these specific events, the tip share on this day, because I applied that job code, is 5% tip out from server to bar. And that's applying on those specific sales. So this concept is really, hey, you can set up as many scenarios as you want. You can make as many custom job codes as you want. We won't limit you. And then you can set up all these specific rules and then do it ahead of time. And then basically, as soon as you're ready to use it, you just go apply that job code to the sales, and it'll go ahead and do that automation for you. Now, that really gives you a lot of flexibility. You can set up all the different scenarios you want, and you can apply it to specific schedules as well. But that's kind of the second option. The third option that we want to talk through here is our custom team adjustment functionality. So this also gives you a lot of flexibility. It's really that other option within the actions profile here. And I'll go ahead and do this on Quixote Valley, which is my other option here today, my other demo location. And so what I know is that yesterday, Taryn and Leone, they worked together. They worked all day together, and they pooled their tips between each other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Leone's sales. And what I'm going to do is click actions. And then instead of batch job code assignment, I'm going to click custom team adjustment. And then I'm going to select these sales. From here, I'm going to click customize team. And then I'm going to select, kind of walk through this modal here. Select tip types. It's going to show me all the sales here and what tips got applied, whether they're credit card, gift card, or gratuity service charge. And then from here, I'm going to be clicking the specific employees. It was Leone that was splitting with, I believe it was Taryn. Yeah, Taryn Langworth. And so from within here, we can do this split kind of a couple different ways. You'll see here by default, we're splitting evenly based on our points or our percentages. Each person that you add basically keeps it even based on the percentage. But you can adjust this. Let's add a third person here. You can adjust this kind of however you want. Based on these points, you can think of them as really flexible within the system. We can treat them as percentages if we want. Let's say we want Leone to get 50%. We want Taryn to get 20%, and we want Stefania to get 30%. As long as my points add up to 100, this percent split can really get split evenly that way. The other thing that we can do is if we want to do an exact dollar amount and we want to say, hey, I want, let's say $30 to go to Lenny, and then I want $10 to go to Taryn, and then I want, what's the rest here? $2.57. Okay, I'm going to click $2.57. I can go ahead and apply that. And as long as my points equal my dollars, then this amount received is going to match that exactly. So you get a little bit of flexibility here. But let's say I just kind of want to go back and really just keep it even. That's our kind of standard setup here. We can go here, and then I've got my standard tip sharing rules get applied. And then on this area, we've got it evenly splitting in here. I go ahead and click submit. And then what you'll see is, hey, this custom team adjustment is getting applied, and you'll see this blue icon here. So if I look at, say, this example, you'll see, hey, here's the $18 on this check. You'll see that tip sharing rules were applied on this custom team adjustment. And then you can go ahead and remove this assignment here if you would like. And it just kind of shows, hey, ultimately, the distributions still tipping out the bar, still tipping out the back of house, and then whatever is left over is getting pooled here to Lenny and Taryn. So these are really three different ways here: this custom team adjustment, this batch job code assignment with custom job codes inside of TipHaus, and then using event-specific job codes in the point of sale. You can kind of think of those as three separate potential options. You can also apply them together if you want to do this server tip out, but then you want to apply that New Year's Eve job code within the with inside of the application, you can do both. You can do a custom team adjustment and then do a batch job code assignment on top of that. I'm going to grab the cook job code just here as an example. It's kind of silly because there's no cook rules that are going to tip out, but you could do that if there was a specific job code that you set up ahead of time for that scenario.